Hey guys, Marshmallow Chomp here, back with another Inazuma 11 video, and today's video we're going to be taking a deep dive into everything you need to know about Team Ogre before the release of Inazuma 11 Victory Road. Now, this may come as a surprise to some of you who have watched the other videos. It's like, why Team Ogre after brainwashing, why not Otaku? But this was actually a request by one of you guys in the comments, as you can see right here. And I just want to thank everyone for the comments, the likes, the subscriptions after watching these videos. It's really nice to see that people enjoy this content, and of course, it's a big inspiration for me to carry on doing these videos, as it's something I'm really passionate about, and it's great to see that others like this content too. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of Team Ogre, I want to talk about a few things that is important to note about them. First of all, like it said in that comment, within the release of Victory Road, certain platforms will have certain teams become highlighted teams. Now, there's a whole thing about that and it's a little weird, so I'll quickly go into detail about it. So, upon reveal within the trailer, depending on the platform you got the game on, 3 teams will be highlighted and you get a better drop rate of those players. So, it was said that on Steam, if you played on Steam, you would get a better drop rate of Team Ogre players than if you played on PlayStation. However, if you played on PlayStation, you get a higher drop rate of Protocol Omega players than you would Team Ogre. So it made it getting different platforms would be beneficial for different teams, or getting multiple platforms and cross-saving would be the best benefit. However, since then, they seem to have changed that, and now every platform gets the highlighted teams, but at different times. So, for example, I don't know if this is the case, but it's set to a schedule where, like, Steam will get the highlighted Team Ogre on the first week, but then Xbox the next week, and then Switch the week after, and then PlayStation the week after. So, it's a little different, it's a little weird, but at the end of the day, it's still a rare team, and every platform will get a highlighted chance to get these players, and that's how it's going to work. Finally, before we get into it, Team Ogre has a few moves that I'll be mentioning throughout. This isn't important for gameplay, but it's something to note. They're basically just recolors because this team is from the movie, Team Ogre Attacks movie. Uh, the way they are in the movie and the game is different. Within the movie, it's the end of season 1. Within the game, it's the end of the Asian preliminaries in season 3, essentially. And there's a whole bunch of extra time traveling stuff. But they have a few moves, such as Death Spear basically being gunshot, Death Brain basically being assault shot, which you'll have seen in the brainwashing video. Death Break is essentially just a fancy, evil-looking version of Inazuma Break. Needle Hammer, used by Lucifer the Goalkeeper, is pretty much just Stinger, which is used by both the Brocken Brigade Germany Keeper and Spain's Keeper as well. It's sort of hard to say which team this belongs to, as both of them don't really feature the move in the show. But yeah, it's not an Ogre original move. And then Electrap is literally just a blue version of Shot Trap, also used by Lucifer. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the real details of this team. So they run a 5-3-2 formation within the game called Ogre. 5 at the back, which is a very heavy defense line, 3 midfield, and 2 up front as forwards, which is very interesting to say that they have 3 forwards, their captain being a forward, but is actually reverse positioned into an attacking midfielder. A central one, so pretty much a striker, but is set up a little differently. Within the movie, this formation is apparently a 4-3-3. It's kind of hard to tell formations in the shows and movies and that, as you can't really see it too well, but it's a 4-3-3. And yeah, so that's the formation. The 5-3-2, it is primarily around the fact that the keeper utilizes 2 defenders for one of the goalkeeping moves. I think, if anything, it's more of a design choice to make it sort of make sense lore-wise and sort of look cool than it is functional. However, that doesn't mean this formation functions bad. A 5-back defense is really, really solid, especially in Victory Road, where the format is having the forwards passing a whole lot, doing crosses and things from the wings before getting shots in. This allows you to set up castle walls to defend shots so easily. You're going to have a whole host of players to be able to use, putting castle walls up easy. They're not going to have to run as far because they have less space they need to take up individually. So say it's a little too far for one of your defenders, a different defender can just pick up the slack, which is great. This means that getting those defenders in place is going to be really good. And if used in, say, a different team where you using defenders like Malcolm Knight, Thiago Torres, and some of the real key defenders, Aitor, Gabby, they're going to be able to do their work a lot easier. As for the top, it's quite high up compared to the defense. Even the three midfielders is quite high up. So it's sort of like a 5 back and a 5 top in a weird way. The two central forwards is great. The two left and right midfielders basically act as wingers, and then Bash Lancer sort of acts as a drop back third forward. However, with the way the system of shooting and passing works, where basically every pass you make in front of the goal in the zone mode makes the shot stronger, it does make Bash Lancer act as a striker. You basically get into the zone with your other forwards like Callus, pass back to Bash, go for that central strike down the middle with your strongest forward, and you're going to be doing some real damage. So this is a formation that I really like. And honestly, I think if we get this translated completely into Victory Road, it'll be a fun formation. Okay, so let's get into the characters. Firstly, we'll look at Drace Bowson. Drace Bowson is the coach for Team Ogre, which, to be honest, I'm not sure if he is in the movie, but if he is, I completely forgot about him. And that's pretty much everything there is to say about him. He's not featured in any games, not featured in Super Deformed even. I know sometimes we get some little things that we can talk about when they feature in that, but no, there's nothing to talk about here. What I can say is we could be looking at something that improves kick or body or strength, as Team Ogre is a very fast, powerful team. It relies on just real power, real speed. You can see that in the movie, you can see that in the game. They're like one of the hardest teams in the game, normal story wise. I know obviously the story's not too difficult, but they're kind of difficult in the story of the Team Ogre Attacks game. Technically, it's post game, but it's also not at the same time. But yeah, in the show, they're also incredibly fast and really strong. So we could be looking at just some pure stat buffs and nothing else. Nothing too fancy, just straightforward power. That would be cool. But this is all speculation as there's nothing to go off besides design and the fact that this guy exists. After that, we will be going into the players. This team, like many special teams, doesn't have a bench, so there's actually only 11 players to go through right here. The first of which is the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper I used in the third game, Lars Lucifer. He's a mounting goalkeeper, and he is very strong. If we look at the stats here, and we don't have to look at the stats between multiple games really, as they were only in the third game. It's also sort of hard to gauge how strong they are in the Go games, but they were in the Go games. In Inazuma 11-3, however, at level 99, you got a guard stat of 99. That is incredibly high. I think it's one of, if not the highest base total. I believe it to be the highest base total, however, I've not done enough research to know that for sure. And I am willing to bet that no other team I'll be doing videos on will reach this height. And that's why I use them in the games. They are incredibly underrated. No one really uses them because, they don't have big moves or power element naturally learned. They're mounting, which is one of the more common goalkeeper attributes, and the rest of their stats are only 50-60s, which isn't amazing. If anything, it's kind of bad. It's like brainwashing levels. But Guard 99 is just incredible. They also have exclusive moves that only they have, and those moves are very strong. If we look at the Go games, we can quickly look at them. It's hard for me to gauge these as, again, I don't know as much about the Go series, and the stats, the way they work, are completely different. However, there's a catch of 138, catch 170 in Chrono Stones, and it stays the same in Go Galaxy. However, not being able to play all of those games, due to the prices and scarcity and the fact that some of them don't even exist in the dub. There's not much to talk about for me there. So, with that being said, we'll look at the moves here. So yeah, the first move, in fact, the first three moves, Lazarus Fudge knows right off the bat. As soon as you recruit them at level 5, presumably because the company's called level 5, which is awesome, but we get High Voltage, which is a crazy, crazy, crazy move. High Voltage is a 60 cost move. It's a mega move, so it can level up to G5. It's a Wind Catch, which is sort of lame that it's not matching element, but it's a 3-player goalkeeping move. Other 3-player goalkeeping moves we've seen in the past are Infinite Wall, Triple Defense, and Clone Defense, which is just triple defense with 3 players. There's a few others, sure, but these are like really strong and they're all known for being incredible goalkeeping moves. This is no exception. It's one of the strongest in the game. On a keeper with 99 in their base stats, that's before you add anything like gloves or do any training. This is truly incredible. It's a punch move, however, which is a little annoying. It means once you've stopped it, it could just rebound to a forward that's going to shoot on you again. So it's worth taking note of that. The next move is Needle Hammer, a 45 cost wind catch move. Like I said earlier, this is basically just a reskin of the move Stinger. However, it's very, very good. They basically just punch the ball a whole lot, and if it works, they punch through it. Kind of cool. And then finally, another wind move, Electrap. Electrap is a 47 cost wind catch move. So there you go. Basically just a higher cost version of Needle Hammer that's a little stronger. When they level up, however, they do learn the move, or the skill, sorry, the passive skill, Combat Kid, which you randomly get a chance to restore your energy. This does not translate into Victory Road, as Victory Road uses a team sort of pool for energy called Tension, so players don't have individual energy bars to utilize. So that's really, really key to note here. What this could do in Victory Road is just, make a move not cost so much, like you have a random chance for a move to not cost tension or something like that. It'd be really interesting to see if we get some sort of like redo of this skill or if we get something completely different. It's key to note that the players only naturally learn 2 moves in Victory Road before we start looking at the Aberlearn board. So that will probably be High Voltage and, I don't know, maybe Needle Hammer? I mean, this guy has 3 exclusive moves, so it's kind of hard to pick just 2. But I'm sure through the Aberlearn board he'll be able to get all 3. And then, yeah, if you teach the same player one move over and over again, that's how you level it up. So you probably want to give this guy high voltage as much as possible. Get a really, really strong high voltage. After that, we'll start looking at the defenders. As I previously mentioned, he uses 2 defenders to use high voltage. In the games, they have to be small build defenders. Now, I'm not sure if that's the case in Victory Road, as things like Butterfly Trance in the games needed a female player, 2 female players to do that move. However, in the Victory Road beta test, if you had Suuntori, it would do Suuntori every time for the animation. However, if you didn't have both Suuntori, it would just pick a random player. It could be like Zanark, Su and Zanark doing the move together. So I'm not sure if these requirements still exist. However, it would look pretty weird with people who aren't pretty tiny. So here we go. Lump Trungus is the first of them. Lump Trungus is a pretty strong defender. We have some stats only sitting in like the 40s, 50s, low 60s, not great. But the 2 key stats here are 71 body and more importantly, 76 guard. Again, they've basically just found the best stat for the position and just cranked it all the way to 90. Obviously, that's an exaggeration. In this case, it's 76. But 76 is nothing to be overlooked. In fact, that would be, in my opinion, a very, very, very good base stat. Again, looking at this is before the addition of any equipment or any training. This is just base level. So 76, very, very impressive. Now, looking at moves, they have Demon Cut, which is a great move. Diabolical Cut. This is a defending move that also acts as a shot block. I believe this was originally used by the Team Zulan team, with Minion as the captain and the spider goalkeeper move. This is a really strong move though. It's a 53 cost shot block. It's incredible and it usually gets the job done of blocking the shot. Now, as a fire defender, that might not be the best. However, this next move proves that very wrong, as we get Mad Express, which I did mention in the last video. Mad Express is an incredibly powerful blocking move, and this is fire. It's a 3-player block. It pretty much always works when they try dribble past you. 57 cost, matching element, 3-player blocking move. You cannot go wrong. After that, they get the skill Defense Force, which made them, a actual meta contender in Inazuma 11 3 competitive play when that was a thing. Defense Force increases the defensive power of your entire team. I think it's by something like 5%. It's not really said how much, but yes, I believe it's 5%. Anyone who had these force skills naturally learned was already going to be good right off the bat, and they were always looked at. They were always considered for good competitive teams. Now pair that with a really good high base guard stat, a matching element incredible block move, and a shot block, you're going great. The final move was Volcano Cut, which is a 42 it's basically a lower version of Diabolical Cut. It was used by Bobby from Raimon. But the advantage of this one is it is matching element. So although it's 42 instead of 53, it might be a little stronger when used by Lumptrungus here. This guy was crazy and was actually, surprisingly, one of the most used players in the entire team because of this defense force skill. So if they have something like that in the new game, it's one of their passives, then yeah, you're looking very, very good. Something weird about this as well. To get Lumptrungus, there was actually a strange requirement. I doubt we'll be having anything like this in Victory Road, but it's worth mentioning anyway. To get this guy, you need a Todd on one of the other versions of the game, and to like sort of link the games together. With the Goalkeeper, you needed Mark Evans, and with one of the others, which we'll get to in a minute, you need a Jack Wallside. So yeah, there you go. I think that's right? Yeah. It's the Premium Link, was what it was called. Ogre Premium Link. And you had to like beat the games before doing all of that as well. So there you go. However, we're not going to them yet, because after Lumptrungus is his brother also used for the high voltage goalkeeping move, Bumptrungus. These names are amazing, by the way. Like, they're insane, these names. Bump. Is this Bump or is this Lump? This is Bump, right? Bumptrungus is also pretty damn good. Bumptrungus had a 73 body stat and an 81 base guard stat, so actually higher than Lumptrungus. Bumptrungus was good. Don't get me wrong, Bumptrungus is great. Any stat in the 80s, let alone the one that you want to be using, as well as the secondary stat, aka body in this, being also 70s. This is an incredible stat line and would always be very successful. However, for some reason, they didn't see much competitive play. Can I tell you why? No, not really. I use this guy and he's great. So ignoring those sorts of like tier lists, this guy should be just as good. With an 81 guard stat. Of course, they don't have the defense force skill, but there's other defenders that for some reason ranked higher with a lesser stat line. However, when we look at the moves, Bump is a wind attribute defender and doesn't learn any wind moves. That's probably why, but the moves they learn are still incredible. First off, we get Groundquake, a shot blocking move. There's a 56 cost. It's a mountain attributed, but it's an incredible move, one of the best blocks in the whole game. After that, they get the dribbling move Bewilder Blast, which is used by Qatar's Desert Lions. This is a mountain, 39 cost dribble move. Pretty good. It's not that bad actually. It's a high mid-range dribble, so pretty damn good. We then got Power Charge, the 39 mountain cost block, if you're looking for a lower cost, sort of like in the later game. And then finally, one of the best, and when I mean one of the best, I truly mean like the top pinnacle of defensive blocking moves. The only reason I say one of is because there are some others at the exact same height. They're not higher than this. They don't go higher than this. They're just equal. Sigma Zone. What a name. What a name. Crazy. But Sigma Zone is a 3-player forest block, 57 cost. Very, very, very powerful, very strong, and a great defender all around. And obviously with having Bump and Lump Trungus, this allowed Lucifer to use his highest power move, High Voltage, which on a 99 stat line is insane. Surprisingly though, Lucifer wasn't considered a good or meta goalkeeper, nor was Bump Trungus. Lump Trungus, however, absolutely. However, in my opinion, I would say absolutely get all of these guys if possible in Victory Road. There's not a limit to how many players you can recruit, or that's what they've said at least so far. So get these guys, level them up. You're going to have some great players in your arsenal. After this, we have Radisher. Radisher. Bro is a radish, crazy. This is the player that you needed Jack Wallside and the Ogre Premium link for. Let's look at Radisher's stats. Wow, 74 body, 78 guard, 70 stamina. Again, the rest of the stats are only 50s, which isn't that good. But when all the key stats that you need are this high, I don't think that's really an issue. Great, great, great stat line on a forest elemented defender. They learn Power Charge, which we just looked at, which is a 39 mountain block. So no match. I don't think any of these moves actually match, which is a shame. They did get Put Your Back Into It skill, which is where they'd use their stamina to make a move stronger, sort of like the opposite of big moves. Players don't have stamina, just as they don't have TP anymore. They don't have FP or TP anymore. So I'm not sure how this will translate into the new game. If it will at all, but it's worth noting. They got the fire attributed Volcano Cut, 55 cost, and they got the goalkeeping move Electrap. Sorry, the last one's 42 cost, which is a 47 cost goalkeeping move. Bit strange that they get that. Are they good? Yes, I can't deny they're good. They've got a strange moveset, nothing matching element, a goalkeeping move that's not even that great either. But they have a shot block and a blocking move and a good stat line. If this was in any other team, especially like Brainwash and other ones we've looked at recently, I'd be going crazy over this player. But the standard of Team Ogre is set so high, and if it continues to be in Victory Road, any Ogre player is going to be good. But the standard's set so high that Radisher actually feels kind of underwhelming, which is crazy. Next up, we have Jinx Jenkins, who looks quite a bit like Jim. If you've not noticed, they have quite a few similarities with Raimon, but not like so many that it's like everyone is someone from Raimon. Regardless, though, Forest Defender Jinx Jenkins, what a guy. Let's check the stats. Okay, so 76 guard, once again, 73 body. Some of the other stats are sitting a little higher with like a 68 in stamina. That's almost 70. That's pretty damn good. I would consider that great. Not amazing, not like spectacular world ending, but pretty great, pretty great. The other stats are sitting in the 60s, 50s. Wow, only 49 kick, but again, this is on a defender. We don't need kick. So honestly, by all means, have one kick. You don't even need the kick stat, bro. So that's pretty cool. They do have a matching element illusion ball. They also get Power Charge, which we've already seen, and Volcano Cut, which we've also already seen. Something key to note here, though, is they did also get Defense Force. So if they're passives, or we get something like Skills in Victory Road that increases the whole team's defense, like we did in the DS games. That's pretty amazing and probably worth looking at. Defense Force is a great skill. Anything that's like Offense Force, Speed Force, Defense Force, I know there's another one that I'm forgetting, but any of those, amazing. So yeah, on a decent move set, you've got a shot block, a matching element dribble, good stat line. Jinx Jenkins is pretty good. Definitely get this guy if possible, especially if they're like they are in the DS games. Now, we've gone through the 4 defenders and goalkeeper. Now, if you remember, they actually had like a 5 back. So one of these midfielders, let's see here. Which one is it? One of these midfielders, I think it's Ikastax. That's the original name. Yeah, Ichabod Stark. Pretty sure this guy gets reverse positioned into like a sort of defender. So Ichabod Stark, let's look at this guy. Looking at the stats here, wow. 72 body, 74 control, 68 stamina, that's good too. Looks like they're going for the control sort of stats, so they're good dribblers on these Ogre players. They dump the rest of the stats in the 50s, low 60s, and they're like, okay, this is what matters, pump that up to 70. They are a mountain attributed midfielder, and they have 2 mountain attributed moves, which are gravitation, which they get at level 1, a shot blocking move. Great. Before that though, before the next one, sorry, they get what's this? Doom Rain, which is the one that looks just like Assault Shot, which is actually a fire long shot move, just like Assault Shot becomes a long shot. So yeah, pretty great stuff there. It's a 62 cost, so it's pretty powerful, honestly. We then see Bewilder Blast, which is their other matching attribute move, so Gravitation and Bewilder Blast. And then finally, they get Field of Force, which is Caleb and Jude's 2-player dribbling move. Forest attribute, so not matching element, but a very powerful move nonetheless. A 57 cost dribble. So yeah, this guy right here, Ichabod Stark, they're keeping the ball no problem for you. Pretty amazing stuff. After that, we will look at the other 2 midfielders. We have Oni Triumvir. Awesome. A forest midfielder. Pretty cool design. I really like the design of this guy. They have 80 body. Wow, any stat in the 80s is incredible. 80 body, that is pretty good. They also have 71 control, which is definitely worth mentioning. The other stats aren't looking quite so bad, 64, 65, those are good stats. We get to the 58, 53, 50, they're not really that great. But, pretty good nonetheless for the most part. Forest midfielder, it would be nicer if the kick was higher when you're looking at midfielders, as, they do get quite a lot of shots going through, so it'd be nice to see those shots be, well, having a little power behind them. But let's go through the moves. So they have Breakthrough 3, which was brought into Inazuma 11.3, a 48 cost dribble. The issue with this is it's a high cost dribble that still has high foul rate. Obviously, these high foul rate moves have a higher success rate, but it's already high cost, so it's a bit of a hit and miss on this. That's a fire attribute dribble. They then have gravitation, a mountain attributed shot blocking block move. That's great. Having this kind of thing on midfielders is always still useful, whether they're defensive midfielder or you're just stopping their midfielder when it's a one-on-one situation to get the ball back and do your own counter offensive. It's pretty good to have these types of moves. 38 cost right there. Now they do get Death Spear, which is a Doomspear, sorry, a forest attributed long shot that is matching element. So this is really great, and this is why it's a bit of a shame that the base kick stat is so low. Obviously, you can make it better with things like boots and equipment, but matching element, very powerful move. It's a 46 cost long shot as well. Pretty good. Now, how I would play this character personally, I would have them as a defensive midfielder and use Despair only as a long shot. When you're trying to clear the ball, they're pressuring you, you just fire it out of there. and then you've got a really strong shot coming from the back midfield that can be chained with other players. If not, it's still a pretty strong shot that will pressure their goalkeeper. Finally, their last move is Power Charge, which we've seen a lot. Now, let's move on to the last midfielder here. This guy's also really, really cool. Draken Gunther, or Gunter. Let's look at the stats. What are we seeing? Wow, 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 wow. Okay, 75 body, 71 guts. Again, only 51 kick, which sucks that these kick stats are so low on the midfielders. It'd be really nice to see these kick stats higher. And I think this really goes to show why these midfielders never really saw competitive play. It doesn't mean they're bad players. If anything, I think if you reposition them as other positions, they'd be great even. But having like zero attacking option that's like game winning or guaranteed goal level in high competitive play, it does really hurt, and you're going to struggle to find a position. However, if you're playing something like the Ogre formation where you have 5 defenders, one of which in the center is a little higher up, one of these midfielders would take a really good position in that higher up defender spot. You know, it's not really their goal to defend us so much because you've got 4 other defenders covering the whole back line. But they're a powerhouse that has good body stats, good gut stats, you know. They can still do good things. But, you know, it's their job to sort of move the ball around. They're sort of like the key that pivots it between all your players. With that being said, let's get into the moves. So this player is a fire attributed midfielder, and their moves, they have no fire attribute moves. They do get Sigma Zone though, which is, we've already mentioned, an incredible move. They get Bewilder Blast, which is a pretty good dribble move. They get Power Charge, which is a pretty good blocking move. And they get Offense Force, which increases their team's shooting power by 5%. So this guy actually would be really, really good as a defensive midfielder. You know, sure, they're not going to be doing too much shot wise. They're going to be good at carrying the ball, keeping it, getting the ball back. But they're also, with their passive or with a skill move, if they still exist in Victory Road, going to be boosting the offense of your team by simply being there, which is incredible. Incredible, incredible. Now we move to the 3 forwards. We'll do the captain last. And like I mentioned earlier, the captain was actually reverse positioned as a midfielder in the formation, but they are, I can assure you, very much a forward. The first one here is Malice, full name Escovan Malice. If we look at the stats here, they were so cool in the movie, by the way. They have 78 kick and 72 speed. That alone is incredible. You're not getting many forwards get close to 78 kick. That's base as well, so with boots and other equipment. And, you know, with a freedom stat of 24, meaning they can be trained 24 times before all the stats come down, you're looking at incredibly high kick stats, which is great. Great, great, great stuff from Malice right here. They are a mountain forward as well, which, like we saw in the Victory Road beta test, mountain forwards are sort of hard to come by, so getting a really good one, like we did with Zanark in the beta test, is truly, truly, truly something special. Honestly, Malice is probably in that similar sort of vein of just being a crazy, powerful mountain forward, which is rare to come by, so amazing stuff right there. We look at the moves. Unfortunately, there's only one matching element move naturally learned, and that's not a shot. But don't let that take away from how powerful this player is. So the first move they get is Doom Rain, the assault shot recolor. There's a long shot fire attribute, but it's a 62 power long shot. Great stuff. Great stuff. It gives you that versatility by having a long shot and a normal shot. You know, if you can't make it quite to the goal, but you're pretty close and there's a defender in your way, just fire off that long shot. They then get, which is a really weird one here, Angel Ball, which is the dribbling move of Sanctus's team. I think Sanctus is, I think it's Sanctus. 56 cost, a very high cost, very good, strong dribble move. We then get Bewilder Blast, which is the matching element dribble. It costs a lot less than Angel Ball. Even with matching element, it will probably not be as good as Angel Ball, but it's worth noting that Angel Ball costs more. So, it gives you options for your dribbles. That's not a bad thing to have. And then finally, we get Doom Spear, the iconic, powerful single-player shot of Team Ogre. It's pretty much what they're known for, as well as their other shooting move that we've not seen yet. Doom Rain's not really that well known, I think. It's just, I don't know. The fans don't seem to post about it as much. But this is a 46 cost, also long shot move. It's pretty powerful. Not quite as strong as Doom Rain, actually. So yeah, but it's different attributes, so depending on what keeper you're going against, one might have an elemental advantage, so you might want to try use that one against their goalkeeper. All things considered, amazing forward. Definitely get Malice. I mean, honestly, you're not going with a miss getting anyone on this team. If you're getting the Steam version of this game, you get the Ogre drop rate buff. Try get as many of them as you can as possible. Obviously, you'll have your own responsibilities and things, but if you can get Team Ogre, you're going to have a lot of good players for many teams. If you need like an all-mountain team, you've got so many good mountain forwards. Because Callus, we've done Malice. Callus is also a mountain attributed forward. Callus has 73 kick, not quite as high, but still incredible. Anything above 70 and naturally learned kick is a really strong forward. Other stats here, 76 speed, that is amazing. It's going to be hard to catch up to them. They're going to be really good wingers, actually. Have these as your midfield wingers. They're going to be sprinting up the sidelines, passing into the centre, and because it's them passing into the centre during zone, it's going to be such a hefty kick that's going to boost your central forward's shot by so much. And yeah, that's the main thing to talk about the stats here. So looking at the moves, we see Doom Spear, which we already talked about. It's a forest attributed long shot. Doom Rain, fire attributed long shot. We've already seen those. Breakthrough 2, a mid-cost high foul rate dribble, whatever. And then they get Devil Ball, which, one gets Angel Ball, one gets Devil Ball. Fair enough. Devil Ball is a equally cost dribble move, 56, Forest Dribble. Basically, they belonged to the two teams of Lightning Bolt and Bomb Blast, which we do see in the show, and we also see the combination Team Dark Angels in the show. But in Team Ogre Attacks, you couldn't recruit from those teams because they were exclusive to the other games. So this was just a little taster. You've got the best version of the game. So here's a little taster of some of the other things from the other games. But yeah, a very strong moveset. Sadly, none of it naturally matches elements, but with such high stats, it doesn't really matter as they'll still be very powerful. And finally, the face of the team, the iconic, the captain, the ace striker, Bash Lancer. Bash Lancer was a meta player on the DS games. Unsurprisingly, a couple of those forwards did actually see a lot of play as well. Or the other two forwards, should I say. Just such high base kick stats, it's no surprise. Base high speed stats as well. You can't complain with that. So Bash Lancer is a forest attributed forward, which actually does hurt him a little bit. We have so many strong wood attributed forwards. We have Kevin. I mean, that's not the best example. I like Kevin. We have Kevin. We have Tezcat. There's so many. I think it's Paolo. Paolo might also be wood. And there's a lot, and I mean a lot of wood attributed midfielders that are also great shooters or reverse positioned as forwards, like Jude, Aphrodite. So many. So many. I could be listing wood players for days. They are incredibly strong. Bash Lancer, however, does come out on top with a very powerful 81 kick. So if you saw this guy on your Steam boosted recruitment and you're like, wow, this guy looks quite interesting, well, go after this guy. 81 kick is crazy powerful. Other stats, 72 speed, that's really good. 72 stamina, that's also pretty good. 65 guts isn't that bad either. Body 51, control 52, not amazing. So he's not going to be doing great dribbling wise, essentially. So you do want good dribblers to pass up to him. or high-speed players like Callus and Malice on the wings to run up and pass to him. Or, if we're just running this in any team, you could have players like Nathan, you could have what's that one guy called? There's some guy in Go that's like a random recruit that's really fast. I might do a video about that guy. I think it's like Fletch or something. But there's also so many fast characters. Sean Frost is also known for being very fast. And there are even some surprising ones, like Steve Grimm's a great dribbler. I'm going to know that because he's one of my favorites of all time. Janus / Jordan, either one, great dribblers. So yeah, you're going to want those types of players to be able to pass to him. Bash Lancer's moveset. Death Break. Now this is a little annoying. Doom Break, sorry. Doom Break. Death, when it says death, that's the original. Doom is the dub, which is what I'm going for because that's what I know and that's what I can talk about. Doom Break is a mountain attributed shot. So the two mountain forwards don't have Doom Break. It's a 3-player like Inazuma Break. But the forest attributed forward has the mountain attributed move. That's quite unfortunate for these guys. Now they might get changed in Victory Road. They might change the attribute of these moves. They've changed some names, they've changed some things around. So if that's the case, then they'll all become incredibly powerful. This is a 67 cost 3-player shot though. That is a mega move. So it can level up all the way to G5 and is very, very, very strong. Paired that with an 81 kickstart, it's no wonder this guy was one of the most used forwards in competitive play on the DS. But that's not all. We have Breakthrough 3, the high cost, high foul rate dribble. It pretty much always wins, it's just a matter of fact of whether you foul or not. The skill, which is put your back into it, so you use more stamina. We've talked about this one, more stamina for more power. We don't really know how to talk about that for Victory Road though. And then finally, a forest dribble in Field of Force. Again, Caleb and Jude's dribble move. One of the best dribbles in the game, matching element. So I know I did say, he's not going to be dribbling all the time. That's more base dribble or doing like the trick moves, rainbow flicks, that kind of thing that we've seen. He's not going to be doing that. But if you have enough tension in the tank to do a shot and a dribble, he can use Field of Force and probably get past some of the best defenders in the game relatively easily. 57 cost dribble move, matching attribute. That's pretty good. If you've used some things like boots or bracelets, necklace, any equipment to boost stats as well, makes that a little bit easier. So that is the team. That's everyone on the team. And that is everything you need to know about Team Ogre before the release of Inazuma 11 Victory Road. Now, do you guys want me to carry on going through the teams normally? So, like, the next one would be Otaku Junior, as that's what's in Season 1. Do you want me to carry on going through these boosted teams, as, you want the information on the ones of, like, which one do I go for, which one do I use my, like, boosted time trying to get the most players from? Or is there just some completely other team that you want me to talk about? Let me know in the comments, and I'll get right to it. And by right to it, I mean I'll do the script right away, and I'll spend a long time finding images, researching, and editing. But it's a great blast. I always enjoy doing it, and comparing it to other things that I've looked at before. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you also so much for the comments, likes, subscriptions, and support. I'll see you guys around. Peace.